Hi guys, we will start with the second video of this course, which is about user management and familiarization with important concepts that you will need in the managing Active Directory networks. We discussed about installing and setting up and basic configuration of Active Directory in the previous video. In this video, we will talk about user management, domain joining, groups, and OUs, and very important concepts inside these topics. Okay, this is my domain, test.com. Imagine we have this domain, and now we want to create user. We want to know how we can join computers to this domain and create users and login users and manage all required items about user groups and OUs and other containers. Because the Active Directory is this centralized management, just you need create username in server. Just you need one time create server. Unlike the workstation computers in workgroup networks, which you will need to create users one by one in each computers you have, in domain networks, in Active Directory networks, just you need create username one time in the server, and with that username you can select, you can give required permissions for login in specific computers and login on each computers by that username, and it is multi login. It is multi login. It means you can log in on all of computers just with same username or with another ones. Okay, no problem about that. But it means it is very important item. You need just create one time and use, and you can use many time. Okay. Now we want to show you how you can create username in Active Directory, and after that how you can join computers to the Active Directory, because the Active Directory has the main policy which known as group policy management, or GPO, or group policy on object. Its group policy will perform and will apply with its specified items on all of the networks, across all of the network Active Directory. And for example, maybe you want disable for example CD-ROMs on all computers. Just you need create and setting up the group policy on the Active Directory server on the domain controller, and apply that GPO, that group policy object, on all of computers when any user log in to its computer or to her computer. Because the applied of group policy object, its computer CD-ROM will be disabled automatically. Now, how we can create username, how we can manage that, how we can join computers, and so on. Let's go. Okay, this is my domain controller, and now I logged in. First of all, let me show you how we can create username. After installing Active Directory successfully and start up the server, we can go to Server Manager window and go to Tools and Active Directory Users and Computers. After going to that, you can see many items. This is the domain name. These items that are same folder pictures, such as they have same pictures such as folder. These are groups or built-in groups. For example, this is built-in objects such as username of administrator, and or maybe some computers, some groups such as account operators, and many other items. I will discuss about many of them in this course. Okay, and computers, this is the shortcut of each computer that connected to our domain, and we can access to its computer settings through this shortcut. This is a shortcut of this domain controller or this DC. And these two items that have the separate pictures, separate icons, as you can see, these are OUs, organizational unit. Imagine as simply it is like a group, okay? And another items maybe inside the OUs, such as usernames or computers and so on. Well, first of all, I want to create user. This is the users by default created on domain controller. These are the default usernames that created when you install Active Directory, and these usernames created automatically. Usernames or groups created automatically. I start to create the user. Right click on the users, new user. We maybe we want to create new computer, contact group, iNet ORG person, printer, shared folder, or many other items. I will discuss about many of them. And now I want to create user. Create user. This is the user name. This is not the username for login. This is the user real name. For example, Gina, the first name, and Brandon. It is the last name, Gina Brandon. This is the username that that Gina can use it for logging into computers. For example, Gina B, Gina Brandon, Gina B. Next, this is the domain name. Gina is under the domain of test.local. Next, the password that we should create for Gina. The password maybe you want to create as default if you didn't perform any change in group policy or password policies. In that case, it should be complexity requirement. It should be performed and it's under the complexity requirements. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 at A, capital B, C, capital D. And again, the complexity requirements means the password that you create should have at least 8 characters and contains alphabets, numbers, and special characters such as @, such as exclamation, for example, or question mark, and any such as items. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 at A, capital B, C, capital D, and these are 4 items. First of all, user must change password at next logon. If you check this item, if you keep this item as checked, it means when the user at the first time log in to the computer from any computer to the network, the window will appear to user and will ask him or her to change its username's password, and we'll change this password we are created here, and just user will know his or her password. Well, I cancel this check mark. Next item, user cannot change password. Cannot change password. Okay, it's okay if you check this item. It means the user will not be able to change his password or her password. Password never expires. When you create username, when you create new username, the password will available and will active until 42 days. After past 42 days, the next logon after 42 days, the window will appear again for that username and will ask him or her about changing its username's password. But if you check this item, check mark this item, it means password never expires and will remain completely without any limitation of time. And account is disabled means the username is created, but now it is disabled and not usable until the administrator go to the properties of the username and remove this check mark. Okay, just I need password, set password never expires. It is very important item. Keep in mind, please. Check this item is not good, not consistency for information security. It is better that usernames that each username's password will change again and again during the period time for preventing the clarify the password for unauthorized users. Well, let's go to the next and finish. The user created Gina Brandon with usernames Gina B. Now I created the first username. Okay, how I can join computers into the domain? Imagine you have the medium-sized network. For example, one domain controller, one DC with its servers such as DNS server, DHCP server, and many other servers. And you have, for example, 150 computers that need to join under its Active Directory, that you can be perform and apply policies, working policies, security policies on all computers. After you install Active Directory or domain controller server, the next item is you create the username. We are created, and the next step is joining computers into that network. Now we need join computers. I have Windows 8 computer, and I want to join this operating system under this domains test. This domain we have, which is test.local. Let me check IP address, IP config 10.0.1. What about the network configuration items? Network adapter is customized under LAN 1 10.0.1. What about this IP address? IP config again 10.0.0.3. And what about the network configuration? Both computers need to be in same network. Now ping 10.0.0.1. Maybe the problem is for okay. Ping is successful now. Now I can ping to this computer. Well, the next step is joining this computer to the domain. Now I need to go to computer or PC. Computer or PC setting, or this PCs. Right click and manage properties. Go to the PC, right click and go to properties of PC and remote setting, computer name, change. This is my computer's name and this is the domain name. Our domain name is test.local, as you did see here. Well, test.local. I want to join this computer under the domain or Active Directory created domain. So we need the username and password of administrator. I got the error. Why? Because maybe for DNS. This error means this computer tell me I don't know what is the test.local. I don't know any information about this domain. Now I need to go configuration of network interface. As you can see, we don't have any DNS address. We need to set the IP address of the server as this client's DNS address 10.0.0.1. Well, okay, and refresh DNS cache ipconfig/flush DNS. Well, that's okay, and now when we click the OK, the window will appear to us, administrator username of the domain, or any username that can be under domain admins, and let us to join computer to that domain. I can use administrator with username a capital B, C, capital D, and wait. Okay, welcome to the test.local domain. Okay, okay, close, restart. Now I want to log in and use GNAB username, which I created before. Select this one, user GNAB, and password A capital B, C capital D, and I can successfully log into the test.local domain, which I joined that. And let me check username properties to show you what about that. This is the users and GNAB. Right click on that, properties. This is the information about the user address. And what about the account? The username that uses for login is specified here. And logon hours, you can select allowed logon hours for the user. For example, you can select just you can select all of them, logon denied, for don't allow to log in, and then select login time from, for example, from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. from the Monday to Friday, from 2 7 p.m. logon permitted. Well, so this user GNAB will be able to log in to join domain from any computer based on the server-based specified times in logon account properties. And logon 2, this is the computer's name, that this user can log in from them. For example, look at your PC, and on this PC, right click, properties, remove setting, and administrator of domain, because this PC now is under domain controller. This is the computer name, change, this is MANN. I can specify that this user just allow to log in from this computer name. I can add the computer name, and after this setting, this user will not be able to log in from the another computers in the domain or across the domain. Well, but if you select all computers, it is not any limitation about that. So another items, now I cannot change the logon 2, and I want to permit to be accessible from the old computers. And another items is account options. Some items I discussed about later, they are here, and some items are new items. For example, a smart card is required for interactive logon. A smart card is a physical drive such as CD that you can log in the user based on the magnetic card. You can, instead of the user, or you can a smart card beside the user, along with the user for growing the security login process and make the process, make the login process more secure, and use the magnetic card for login, in addition of the username and password and some other items. Also, you can set the expire time. For example, you can set account expires on this time or on this date. And another item is profile, telephone, organization, remote control. You can use member of. This item shows the users, the users join to which groups, and maybe you can manage this user as their group membership and their permissions. For example, when you create the username in Active Directory, the username automatically join to group of domain users, because this username will use for login to domains. In addition of that, maybe you want your user be able to get and perform the backup process from the data, and for this reason you can add advanced, find now, for example, backup operators. Okay. Also, this user now joined, in addition of the domain users, joined to backup operators and can be perform backup schedules, backup tasks for getting backup from the domain information, and many other groups based on your need. You can select them. For example, maybe you want to this user join to administrators and become like as administrator, maybe become the DNS admins, and in many items, many groups that the user maybe need to be joined. But keep in mind, this is a very, very important item. Don't join user to groups that not really required. It is very, very important for make safe your domain, for keep safe your domain, for keep safe your network. This is very important item. And another item for dial in, for dial up access, it is not required now, more times. And environment, sessions, there is many items for managing users one by one per topics. I will describe many of them to you. But let's get acquainted with some objects in Active Directory. It was the first user that we talked a little about, and we will examine it much more in the future. The second is the group. These are some groups and some users. For example, these items that have the icon with more than one person, as shown, as you can see, 2%. These are the groups. A group is an object to assign tasks to users more easily and quickly, or to limit certain accesses. For example, suppose you have 57 users and you want to restrict their access to a shared folder, for example, to read content and not to write. In such a case, instead of implementing desired access and restrictions on users individually, one by one, you can easily make them members of a group and give the desired access to that group. Therefore, since the users are members of the group, the access defined for the group will be applied to them also. And you can create groups, and in addition, you have some built-in or predefined groups, such as this group, such as, for example, domain admins, domain computers, domain controllers, domain guests, domain users, and so on. And also you can create group. Right click on your favorite, for example, part, such as the users, right click on that, new, and you can create group, for example, GRP1, and you have two items, group scope or group type. Well, if we want to create a group, We can right click, for example, on any container, for example, right click on users and new and select group. When you want to create group, you have two types of two types for group configuration items: group scope and group type. Two types is there: security and distribution, and three types of group scope. In Active Directory, group scope defines how a group can be used and where in the Active Directory structure it can be applied. And there are three main group scopes in Active Directory. Let me describe about that: domain, local, global, and universal. Universal group, it is entire the forest, and these groups can contain users, groups, computers from any domain within the forest. They are typically used for roles that need to span the entire organization. And for example, ideal for groups that need to manage permissions across multiple domains. However, they should be used sparingly to avoid excessive replication traffic. The second type is global group, which is the default item. Global group means operate own domain, and these groups can contain users, groups, and computers only from the same domain. They are used to organize users and other objects within a single domain and used for managing permission within the same domain. Global groups can be nested within within other global groups or universal groups. Domain local groups, it is the third item in group scope, which means operate in single domain, and these groups can contain users, groups, and computers and other objects from any domain within the forest, as well as forest trusted external domains. And they are typically used to assign permissions to resources within a single domain, and primarily used to assign permissions to resources such as file sharing or printers and so on within the domain where they reside. Well, but the default item is global. But what about the group types, security and distribution? If I want to describe that, it is in Active Directory, groups are classified into two main types: security groups and distribution groups. Each type serves distinct purposes related to how they manage users and permissions. The purpose of group types is security groups are used to manage user permissions and access to resources, for example, file sharing and folders and printers and so on within the Active Directory environment, such as access control, such as authorization, resource access, nested groups, and any other items. Well, common use of security group, which is the default of group type, is granting access to shared network resources, managing permissions to application and services, and controlling access to organizational units and directories. But the second type is, which is the distribution groups. Distribution groups are used primarily for email distribution lists within Microsoft Exchange and other email systems or apps, for email communication, for no security context, for communication management, and it's common use for creating email lists for departments or teams, organization recipients, for announcements of newsletter, for example, and facilitating communication for specific projects or events and so on. But the key differences between security and distribution groups are used. Security groups are used for managing permission access control, while distribution groups are used for managing email communication. About permissions, security groups can be assigned permissions to resources. Distribution groups cannot. And security ID or SID, it is a security identifier for creating groups. Security groups, it is a number. SID, it is the number, such as number. For example, definition or combination of letters and combination of numbers that results in security identifier. It is a unique ID. Security groups have a security identifier or SID and can be included in access control list, and distribution groups don't have any security identifier or SID. And if you need to manage access to resources, you should use a security group. If you need to manage email communication, you need to use a distribution group. If you need both access control and email distribution, in some cases organizations, for example, create both a security group and a corresponding distribution group, especially if the same set of users need to have permission to resources and also be part of a mailing list. You can use both of them. Well, and finally, I need to create global for group scope and need security for group type. I need to create GRP, for example, 1. Okay, GRP1 created. Now I have some users, for example, server 2019. I can assign this user to the group. I described you that creating groups has the benefit. One of the main benefits of creating group is you can easily access and manage user permissions, assigning user access to resources. If you don't have any group, maybe you have 100 users and you want deny permission, for example, write permission on a specific folder for these 100 users. If you don't have any groups, you need assign permission to these 100 users one by one, and this is huge work and it will tire you. But if you have any group, you can assign and join these users into a specific group, and just one time assign permission, for example, deny write permission to the specific group, and finally your defined access, deny write access to that folder, for example, it will apply to all members of that group. So I can right click on a specific user or users, properties, and member of, add, advanced, find. It will list the groups and you find GRP1 here. And for this operation, this user is member of GRP1. Apply, okay. Right click on the group, GRP1, properties, members, server 2019. We can see it is here the members of this group. This group also can be member of the other groups. It is not any collision about that. It is not any specific item. The group that have some members itself can be member of the other groups. And for example, if we want drive, for example, I need new folder 01. I need to assign permission, right click, properties, security, and edit, add, advanced, find, GRP1. For example, I can assign a specific permission, GRP1. This is the allow column and this is the deny column. I need to deny write for this user, for this group, and it is members, okay. And I need select this group, and in right, I can deny that. Apply. Well, it is the warning: you are setting a deny permissions entry. Deny entries take precedence over allow entries. This means if you, for example, if your group's members have allow write access to these folders, and by assigning deny write access to this folder by GRP1, the deny will be override and will be precedence over allow entries. Keep in mind, okay? No problem. Okay. And if I, for example, sign out, I log out and log in with server 2019, for example, user, you can test it in your computer. If I log out from this and enter with server 2019 with this user that is the member of the GRP1, it will not be available for write on this. Let me check sharing. Let me check share the folder, permissions, everyone full, allow access. This is sharing, okay. And let me check security, server 2019, allow write, read, full control, for example. And let me create another user. Let me create another users, user one, and password never expires. Set the password. Okay, and the user one need to be member of GRP1. For example, GRP1. Okay, apply. Okay, check at GRP1 also. It is here. Well, and in permission, in document which is shared, this new folder one, the GRP1 is denied for write access. Well, let me log in by user one. Sorry, change the user. User one, and 1 2 3 4 5 6 at A capital B C capital D. Let me log in and go to this IP config, this server 10001. Okay, go to shading 10001. This is the new folder, and now I logged in with user one. Well, now I should not be able to write any other items, for example, create folder. As you can see, destination folder access denied, but I can read any items which is in new folder one. For example, I can create this one and it is viewable, but I cannot perform any write access on this folder. Well, this was the first step for managing users and groups. We did be able to create users, create group, and we understood types of users, groups, and the groups types and scopes, and we did perform one practice for controlling users by group as a permission assignment. We will expand this valuable and useful discussion in the following videos. Have a nice time.